All right, so we are going to multiply polynomials today. So let's talk about the directions a little bit. Sometimes it will say find the product, and sometimes it will just say simplify, which confuses people sometimes. But with any of the things that we've done with polynomials, adding, subtracting, multiplying today, if it says simplify, they want you to go ahead and do those operations and get everything combined. All right, so for this first part, we have a monomial on the outside, just one term, multiplied by a binomial with two terms. So for this part, we are just going to use the distributive property. So I'm just going to write distribute, and that's what you're going to do for 1 through 4. So if you want to draw a line, kind of separate that, that's what we do for these. So the first couple are the things that we've done before. So I'm going to take 8 times 3m to get 24m. And then we bring down the minus, and then 8 times 3 is 24. And that's it. You just distribute. Not too bad. It's just multiplying whatever's on the outside with everything on the inside. For number 2, I take negative 5 times 3k, so what would that give me? Go ahead and say it.
Negative 15k.
Negative 15k, good. And then I'm going to take negative 5 times positive 8. Negative 40, so we can just go ahead and write minus 40. You can write plus negative 40 if you prefer, but they usually just shorten it to minus 40. So this is just distributing a number into the parentheses. On the next two examples, they're going to add another variable. So I'm going to take negative 8x times 2x. So the negative 8 times 2 is negative 16. What do I get when I take x times x? X squared. X squared. Very good. And then I'm going to take negative x times, well, think of it as negative 5. Or I'm sorry, negative 8x times negative 5. So a negative times a negative makes it plus, and it'll be 40x. So I have to remember that this x is out here, and it's going to add on an x to both of these terms. It made this have 2 of them, and that now has 1 of them. It's not exactly how that works, but that's how I think of it. All right, so this one on number 4 has negatives and minuses on everything. So I'm going to take negative 4n times negative n. So that'd be like negative 1. So negative 4 times negative 1 is positive 4. And then n times n is n squared. Very good. Negative 4n times negative 1 is going to be positive. I just broke my lead. 4n. Good. So this is really just stuff we've done before. They maybe are adding some more letters out here. It's not super complicated. And we've actually done the FOIL method a little bit before too. And that's what we're going to use down here. So when there's 2 terms and 2 terms, 2 sets of parentheses, we're going to use what's called the FOIL method. And it stands for firsts. Actually, I'm going to write it the other way because that's going to be easier. Let's write it this way. FOIL up and down. F-O-I-L. So it stands for firsts, outside, inside, lasts. And I'll just kind of explain this as we go. So my firsts are when I'm going to take the first term of this parentheses times the first term in these parentheses. So I'm going to take 2r, sorry, my lead keeps breaking, 2r times 5r. So 2 times 5 is 10, and r times r is r squared. So that's my firsts. So it's the first term here and the first term here. Okay? Then it's outside. So it's the ones on the edge. So the 2 r's on the edge, and then we're going to think of this as negative 4. So 2r times negative 4 would be my outside. So that's negative 8r. So that's my outside. And I'll label this on here too. This is the firsts. This is the outside. That way you can kind of see it on there. I didn't leave myself much room for the rest, but we'll squeeze it in. And so the inside are the ones that are sort of squished in the middle. So this is the inside. 3 times 5r. So that's positive 15r. So that's my inside. And then my lasts are the last number here times the last number there. So positive 3 times negative 4 would give me negative 12. So that's my lasts. Put a little box around this so it doesn't. And then when you're done, sometimes, often actually, you will have some like terms that you can combine. So look at that and tell me what my like terms are. What could I put together? The r's. So the negative 8r is how I'm thinking of that, and positive 15r can go together. So the 10r squared will not change. I'm just going to copy that down. But these, if I put them together, negative 8 and positive 15 give me how many r's?
7.
Positive 7 r's. And then the minus 12 doesn't have anything to combine, so that's it. So it's usually just these two terms right here that you'll put together. So FOIL is one way to remember. Another way to remember is that you're going to take this number times both of these and this number times both of these. Some people prefer just to think of it that way. So it's whatever's going to work for you. I'm going to skip down a little bit to make this a little faster. I've got some extra examples if we need them, but I'm just going to go down to number 7. So I'm going to go through my steps. So my firsts are going to be 4b times 5b. So what will that be? Sorry, it's not really funny.
9b.
So 20b.
I don't know my
20b. It is multiplying. So he had it right. 20b. That's my firsts. And then I'm going to do my outside. So 4b times 7. Huh?
28.
28. Good. So it's positive 28. So I use a plus sign to separate that. Plus 28b. That's my outside. My inside.
The first one would be b squared.
It would be b squared. Oops. So 4b times 5b was 20b squared. Good catch. I forgot to write the squared. Then 4b times 7 gave us 28b. So I've taken 4b times both of the numbers over here. Then I can move on, and I'm going to use this minus sign as a negative on the 8. I think of it as distributing negative 8. So negative 8 times 5b would be negative 40b. And so that's my insides, because they're kind of the squish, they're the middle numbers. And then my last would be taking negative 8 times 7. So what would that be? That's one people forget a lot. It's
56.
negative 56. Good, because I have a negative times a positive. And then when you're done, it's usually these two terms in the middle that'll be the same that we can put together. So I have 28 and negative 40. So negative 12b if I put those together. And so I just combined like terms here. So let me put a little note what we did here. So we combined like terms to get my final answer. And then I put number 9 on here on purpose because these show up a lot later on. It doesn't look like it's the same problem, but they have this squared here. And what that means is I'm going to take 2a minus 2 times itself. So the first thing that you're going to do is just write it out twice, and then you can use FOIL. A lot of people will just try to square both of these. It doesn't work. You have to write it out and use FOIL. Okay? So 2a times 2a would be what?
4a squared.
4a squared. Good. I'm going to try to fix my lead again. I'm having issues. I bought cheap lead. 4a squared. And then 2a times negative 2 would be how much?
2.
So 2 minus 4a. Good. And then negative 2 times 2a is going to be another negative 4a. And then negative 2 times negative 2 is positive 4. So these will go together. I've got negative 4 and negative 4, which would give me negative 8a in the middle. So I combined those like terms. And you always want to do that when you're doing anything, is combine those like terms. I am going to do 10 because it's another special case. And then we'll be done. So on 10, it looks a lot like what we did here, except for one thing. Here I had the exact same thing twice. They both had minuses. On here they look exactly the same, but one's a plus and one's a minus. That's going to do something special. So if I take 7v times 7v, I get 49v squared. If I take 7v times negative 2, so remember this is like negative 2, I get minus 14v. Then I take positive 2 times 7v, I'm going to get plus 14v. My minus sign's kind of in the wrong place. Let me fix that. And then my positive 2 times my negative 2 would give me negative 4. So when I go to combine these like terms, what's going to happen?
They're gonna cancel.
They're going to cancel. This whole thing's going to be gone. And I'm just going to have 49v squared minus 4. So these two binomials that we have right here are called conjugates. It's not important that you memorize that right now, but it's just a special case. They also call this a difference of squares, which we'll get into more when we are factoring.